Hey, did you know that this orchid actually has a face? Well, let me show you. And now that you're wondering where the heck is the face, I'll show you. Look there. Yeah, that's a mantis. A mantis that looks exactly like a flower petal. You heard that right. It's a praying mantis that lives in the jungles of Southeast Asia and some parts of Australia. And it's called the orchid mantis because of its flat, white legs that look exactly like the petals of an orchid flower. And yeah, sometimes their colors are also similar, ranging from white, pink to light purple, depending on what kind of flower it chooses to hide in. Okay, why do they do this? Well, first off, you may have noticed that these flowers don't really look like praying mantises, but these praying mantises look exactly like those flowers. So, why would they want to be camouflaged as flowers? Well, these guys are predators, you know, and when you're a predator, you need to be sneaky. Like, take a look at this one. How does a butterfly get past it without thinking that it's actually a flower? But it's not just about being sneaky, it's also about surviving. I mean, think about it. If some random bird flies by and sees a praying mantis sitting on a leaf, chances are it'll get eaten. But if that same mantis is sitting on a flower that looks exactly like the rest of the flowers around it, it's much more likely to survive. So basically, the orchid mantis uses its petal-shaped legs and flower-like colors to camouflage itself so that it can sneak up on its prey and avoid being eaten by predators. And that's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to turn themselves into a flower? But I'm sure you've got even more questions. Like, how do they even get their food? I mean, how do they eat? And how long can they stay still like that? Well, luckily for you, I've got all the answers. Praying mantises are ambush predators, which means they wait for their prey to get really close before they strike. So while it may look like the orchid mantis is just hanging out on a flower, it is actually patiently waiting for a butterfly or bee to come along and get close enough to suck some nectar. Once the orchid mantis sees its prey, it quickly extends its huge front legs and grabs onto the unsuspecting insect. And no, they don't eat them right away. Instead, they hold on to them and wait for them to stop struggling before they start eating. And yes, they do eat with their mouths, not with their legs. So, don't worry. But how long can they actually stay still like that? Well, according to National Geographic, these patient predators can stay completely still for hours. Hours? That's a long time to be waiting for food. And to be honest, I don't think I could do that. Like, how do they not get bored or something? I mean, I get bored waiting for my dinner sometimes, but these guys wait like that for hours on end. It's actually pretty incredible. Okay. Now you might be thinking, yeah, that's cool and all, but why do they need to be so patient? I mean, why can't they just chase down their food instead of waiting for it? Well, it's because of their size. See, the orchid mantis isn't the biggest bug out there. In fact, they're pretty small, usually only grown to be about 2 inches long. That's smaller than most smartphones. So yeah, they're not exactly built for chasing. They're much better at being little ninjas and striking when the time is right. And don't forget about that camouflage. I mean, if they tried to chase after their food, they'd probably get spotted and eaten by a predator long before they got close enough to grab it. So being patient and having perfect camouflage is kinda like their superpower. Speaking of which, I bet you're wondering what happens when they use their superpower. Well, let me tell you, it's pretty impressive. When the orchid mantis grabs onto its prey, it holds on tight until that poor little critter stops struggling, and then it starts eating. And no, it doesn't just eat the butterfly or bee. It eats whatever insect it manages to catch. And trust me, these guys aren't picky eaters. They'll eat anything they can catch, whether it's a butterfly, bee, moth, or even another praying mantis. Yes, sometimes they eat each other. That's just how it is in the jungle. It's eat or be eaten. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but how do they actually eat it? Do they just rip it apart with their teeth or something? Well, not exactly. You see, The orchid mantis doesn't have teeth. Instead, they have a really long tongue that they use to slurp up their food. Yeah, slurp. It's kinda gross, but also kinda cute. But before they can slurp up their food, they need to do a little bit of prep work. First, they need to break down the outer shell of their meal, and they do this by using their huge, strong jaws to squeeze and crush the exoskeleton of their prey. Once they've done that, they can finally stick out their long, sticky tongues and slurp up the juicy goodness inside. And yes, they do digest their food with acids, but they don't do it right away. Instead, they wait until they've had a chance to slurp up as much of the food as possible. And once they're done, well, they just regurgitate the leftovers. Okay, now, I know this might sound kinda gross, but trust me, it's all worth it. The orchid mantis has earned every bite of its meal by spending hours sitting still and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And don't forget about that camouflage. I mean, it's not easy to blend in with a bunch of flowers. You've got to keep your colors and your shape just right. And the orchid mantis does it perfectly. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen them around before, but I never realized what they were. They're that good. So, yeah, the orchid mantis is a pretty amazing bug. It's got some seriously impressive skills when it comes to hunting and surviving. And don't forget about that flower-like shape. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to turn themselves into a flower? It's definitely one of the coolest adaptations in the insect world. But it's also a reminder of just how amazing and mysterious nature really is. Who knows what other incredible creatures are out there that we haven't discovered yet? Maybe there's an orchid mantis that looks exactly like a rose or a tulip. Who knows? The world is full of surprises, and we're lucky enough to be a part of it. I've been your host. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, please make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media. Thanks again, and see you next time.